Hi, good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, depending on where you are in the world. I wanted to come on today and I wanted to talk with you about business principles, business cycles, and strategic planning. So, business principles are what support businesses and organizations in creating success. So, if we agree that business principles are a foundational part of business, that's one piece of it. The other piece is the cycles, these business rhythms. And so, what I would suggest to you is that every business, every industry has a rhythm, and that rhythm is how work gets done throughout the year. So when you take the business principle and you take the cycle and you put those together and you find yourself in the third quarter coming on the fourth quarter, it's only natural for businesses to be thinking about creating their strategic plan. So the reason I'm coming on to talk about this today is because I have extensive experience in this. It's an exciting thing for me to get to participate in strategic planning. And by my guess, I've been involved with strategic planning for about 20 to 25 years. And that involvement was in the role of being the leader, owning the strategic plan, being a subject matter expert or contributor, and making sure that I was contributing content to the strategic plan, and then also as a facilitator. So being able to take the people who were in the room and work with them in such a way as to create their plan at the end. So I have a well-rounded set of experiences based on the different roles that I just shared with you, and then also the different processes. And what's interesting about this for me is that I'll give you the worst case scenario and I'll give you what I think is the best case scenario. So the worst case scenario was working in an organization where the strategic plan was laid out. The process was 15 steps or more, and involved 3 days of putting it together. It was extremely cumbersome. People were not engaged. And at the end of the day, the binder went on the shelf, and quite literally nobody picked it up until the end of the year, when all of a sudden now it was a matter of how did we do for the year. So that was really, in my opinion, too much, too complicated, and did not meet any of the needs of that organization. Now, on the other side, there was a really positive experience working with an organization whereby they were able to put together their strategic plan with about 7 or 8 steps, so much less, and also they were able to do it in less time, about 2 days, give or take. And the difference there is that they were not tied to this cumbersome process. The steps within the process that they were following were very interdependent on each other, and so it was only natural for at the end of the 7 or 8 steps that they would have the complete strategic plan and had about 3 to 5 strategic initiatives that they were going to follow on through the year. And what they did was they also built in the mechanism to make sure that it didn't go on the shelf and get ignored. They put in place not only monthly meetings to review how they were doing in their scorecard around those 5 strategic initiatives, they also put together a quarterly meeting so that they could meet and make sure that at the quarterly level that they weren't missing anything in the monthly meetings. So 2 scenarios, 2 different ways of approaching it, business principles and cycles still embedded in it. However, the range there shows that you can be either really complicated with it, or you can be really streamlined with it. So what I prefer is the streamline, because quite frankly you get a better product at the end with your strategic plan, and it's not sitting on the shelf. So with that in mind, what I'd love to do is be able to work with companies that are ready to start putting their strategic plan together, and be able to share with them the best practices that I've developed over, again, 20 to 25 years in the multiple roles. So I can see things from a lot of different angles, and I can support them in achieving the best and highest outcome for their strategic plan. And then the support mechanism around it to make sure that each month and every quarter they're maintaining it and looking at it. And quite frankly, when you put a plan together, the whole idea is to achieve it. So with that in mind, I would love to hear from you if you would like to work with me about putting your strategic plan together for next year, or if you'd like to put a plan together for 1, 3, or 5 years. I'm open to doing that as well. And I think organizations that put those together really understand the importance of making the strategic plan and then being able to alter it and tweak it each year going forward. So with that in mind, you can reach me at phil@seedandlead.com. My company name is Seed and Lead, and I have a obviously obviously a LinkedIn profile. I have a website that you can go to. And I would love for you to do some research, learn a little bit more about me, and then reach out to me so we can talk about working together and putting together your 2020 strategic plan way ahead of 2020, right? So with that, with much gratitude, thank you.